Welcome back to my channel. My name is Gift, but you can also call me Giftee Love. Thank you so much if you're a return subscriber. Hi, how are you? How's your family? How's everything going? And if you're new here, thank you for watching my video. I really appreciate it. Especially as a small channel, it's just nice to know that kind of out there, somewhere in the world, people are there enjoying my content. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about a subject that I think about quite a lot, and especially when I'm kind of watching and seeing the internet, especially Black Twitter's reactions to things. It's something that I think about a lot, and it's a conversation that is sometimes had on the internet, but sometimes when these conversations are had, there's little to no nuance about them. So I wanted to kind of try my best to kind of explain my view about it. So yeah, let me jump right in. As you can see from the title of this video, can we critique Black art? It's a question that for a long time I have often wondered, because I think personally, let me start by saying not resurgence, because Black art has always been there, but I guess we are in a really unique and amazing time where Black people are getting the spotlight, the funding, and the kind of shows, movies, and artwork that we deserve. Black people's art is more prevalent than ever. It's not that Black people weren't making art before, but it's that the fact that it is more accessible than ever. There's more funding available. It is being put out more. It's been seen as mainstream, and we are getting to create things by us, for us, and it's beautiful and hugely inspiring. Because for me, for a long time, I didn't feel like I was a creative person or I had any right to creativity, because I couldn't draw. But seeing art, especially Black art in all its different forms and ways, and finally seeing our stories being told and different types of stories being told has really changed my life and changed the way I think about myself and what I want to do with my life and my future, and the way in which I see myself as an artist. I suppose I don't feel call myself an artist, but yes, I am one. My medium I'm still working out, but I am one. And so seeing Black art has filled me with so much joy. It's opened my eyes to different mediums that we exist in, because obviously we can exist in any medium, but if you grow up only seeing one type of person or character over and over again in art, so it's either a white person or it's a Black person that fills stereotypes, and for a long time we never had just a Black person being a Black person, like their story, them as a person, their story being told without it centering around stereotypes of what Blackness means. And I'm just really happy that we are starting to move towards the direction where some films obviously tackling nuanced and challenging topics through artwork, but other times I think in other ways we are just telling narratives and like stories that we can all enjoy, except there's Black characters in them, and so we can enjoy them on kind of different levels. However, sometimes, so I think I am happy, and I'm sure most Black people are happy, that we are kind of, bursting onto the screens of the nations everywhere, and we're becoming, our work is being delivered to not only Black people, but just everyone around us, so they can see and hear our nuanced stories. But there's a part of me that, usually when like a big blockbuster comes out, like Black Panther or a Girls Trip, or anything that's like an all Black cast, or just like predominantly Black cast, or is telling a Black story, and Mudbound, The Fence, all different things like that. Most of the time, Black excellence is a real thing, and we know how to make good shit. Yeah, Black people are talented, and it's about time we got the spotlight that we deserve, and we make some amazing stuff. But there's a part of me that sometimes I think when I'm on social media looking at like the reviews and what people are saying about them, sometimes it can feel a bit like you can't say one bad thing about a film, or especially if it's, because sometimes I know when it comes to like films for us, by us, it can feel like we have this one shot to make it bang. Because if we don't, we never know we're going to get the shot again. We have to prove to white people that we are profitable, and that we spend money, and that we do all these things so we can continue to get these opportunities. And I completely get that. But then also there's a side of me that is of the mind of, we will continue to make art, and our art is beautiful and amazing and our stories deserve to be told, and whether they like it or not, we were making these things. It's only now that white people are starting to see the value in it and are therefore funding it. But at the same time, I feel like just because it has Black people in it, it doesn't mean we can't critique it. Now, it's difficult because, a lot of people that have black owned businesses or like do projects centered around us that sometimes flop, a lot of times they didn't get enough support from the community, or like when things come out, we're like, everyone, we need to go back this movie, we need to do all these things for this movie because, or like to make sure that we can get more opportunities to kind of, basically it feels as if, which is really awful, but it feels as if every single thing that a black person does has to be used as a statistic to back up if another black person wants to do something, rather than them being able to just do something off their merit of their art being good. And then when it does come out, anyone that even has any remote critique towards the piece of art, so it can be better, so our standard of art can, you know, like I think everything can be critiqued and like talked about and discussed, because that's, and it needs to be, because that's how art can be made better. But it can feel sometimes in the black community that when stuff like films or shows, theatre, whatever comes out, that we can't critique it, because if you critique it, that means that we're shooting it down, we're not going to get an opportunity, that we're not supportive. And I think there's a difference between being supportive and critiquing. Now, people are just saying it's shit for being shit's sake are mean. But to be honest, a lot of conversations around like any negative opinions around something are to do with the art itself. So for example, Black Panther, for example, I guess some people say it's the best movie ever, hands down, nothing wrong with it, no critique whatsoever. And that's silly. Every single movie can be critiqued depending on the viewpoint of the person watching it. For example, for me, the costumes were beautiful, the storyline was really fun, it was really exciting. I've never seen a superhero portrayed in that way, and the kind of Wakanda, I guess, and was supposed to be like a symbolism for Africa portrayed in that way. I think it was really beautiful, and the outfits and the hair, everything like that. But sometimes for me, the accents were awful. Like sometimes when I was like, oh, like just, it doesn't hit, like stop. And that was just unfortunately because, like, you know, the people that were in that film didn't necessarily have that accent, and so couldn't deliver in the way that I guess I would have been great if I could hear actual pidgin or the accent. Because it was almost as if I couldn't place where the accent was from. It was like a very general African accent, which I thought was really weird. And I never expressed these things, because for me, I'm just like, I can have these opinions and keep them to myself. Like it's so weird because on the internet it can feel like, if you have an opinion, you have to share it, you have to put it out there, you have to tell everybody. For me, no. I can have an opinion, I can just be like, that's an interesting opinion, and keep it to myself. But I'm sure there are other people out there that watch Black Panther or other films like it and were like, this was really great, however, I think they could have done this or tweaked this. And I'm probably met with loads and loads of hate, because they're like, why are you hating on our own? Why can't you, how are you saying these things? And it's usually if Black people are making those comments, that rush of, how are you going to speak down to our own? Why are you not supporting this, that? Wow, this is why the Black community can't do this, this is why the Black community can't do that. It's like, relax, they were just critiquing it. And it's like, we can support the movie by going to see it, but also like critiquing is a discussion, and it's something that is still promoting the movie. And it's also going, again, like I keep saying, that if we don't critique the art, it's not going to be better. And so if it doesn't get better, we're not going to be able to raise as a Black community, we can't raise the level of our art and kind of, we can't raise the level and progress with our art if we just keep being satisfied with whatever we get given. Like, we don't have to put up with just this movie because as Black people, if it's not good, it's not good. We can still watch it, we can still support, and we can like support by saying to that director, like, we love, you know, we really loved what you're trying to do, they really love the vision, however, we think you can do this and that, and then they can go away and make those improvements. There's no point in watching and supporting a movie and saying it was perfect, nothing wrong with it. How does that help anybody? And it's like, not just, I'm using film as an example because that's easier, that's one that like film feels like on Twitter and social media, like kind of everyone's like kind of talking about it and saying their own two piece on the thing. But it can be theatre, it can be art exhibition, it can be whatever. It just feels like, can we not critique our own art? Can we just not like, why can't we? Why can't we have that conversation? Why don't we want better? We haven't just got our one shot anymore. I don't feel like we just have our one shot to make it good. And I feel like, I know like we have to work 2 times as hard to be just as good as them, kind of that saying of like, you know, we have to try as hard before we can even get to the place where they'll allow us to show our stuff. And it can feel like, you know, it feels hard to critique people that have produced this art, because you know how hard and probably the barriers there to beat and kind of the hurdles they have to jump over in order to get to their art being shown in mainstream cinema or in mainstream theatres and things like that. However, you know, it's like, as an artist, we're not doing them a service by just being like, yes, it was perfect, it was amazing, Black people were great, nothing to change here, because then we're just going to be putting out the same shit. And then when I guess the people in power don't want to fund our stuff, or when we are in power and want to fund stuff, don't we want to fund really good, beautiful pieces of art? Isn't that what we want for ourselves? And if we want to do that, we need to critique, and we need to be like making a feedback a thing without being absolutely torn to pieces on social media, or just in real life or everywhere. Like, if you like, and sometimes it can feel like if you don't like something that's like all black, it's like, wow, that's anti-black of you. It's like, relax. It's like not that deep. Like, we are allowed, just like we don't like being displayed as a monolith culture that is just black people and they all act the same, we all do the same. It's not fair to assume that every single black person will like every single black thing. Does that make sense? I know, and again, sometimes it can feel like showing support equals showing an undying love for a piece of art or for something that's black owned or made, but making something, not in a mean, horrible way saying this was shit, this was rubbish, no watching it again, but actually having some suggestions, or just saying, I really love this, wish it was doing a bit more of this, is actually a better way of showing support, because it means that you've watched and actually appreciated it for what it is, and you're trying to make it better so you can see more from that artist. I want to say, we can make crap. We're allowed to make crap. Not everything we put out has to be perfectly shot and, you know, perfectly in the excellence and the incredible perfection. Not everything you have to make has to be perfect. We can make crap and put it out there. Every other, you know, white people can make nonsense and put it out there, and it's a cult classic. Like, we are allowed to do that, and we should be allowed to like make, I'm not saying we should go out there to make crap, but like, if we just make a movie for the sake of it being a movie, like Girl Trip, for example, it's just girls on a holiday having a nice time doing crazy shit. We've seen that story a million times. We should be allowed to tell more of those narratives that isn't, wow, we're really thinking deep into this particular issue, which are important things to do in film and art to kind of give us the, make black people, you know, give our stories the platform they deserve. But at the same time, we should be allowed to make carefree fun, just, it's a movie, we want to watch it. There's nothing on telly, we're just going to put it on, or I just want to go to cinema, what's on, I want to watch that. And I think sometimes it can feel, again, because it feels like we only have this one shot to get it right, or else we're completely discredited. It feels like sometimes we only can make art that touches on all these really precious and complicated and challenging issues, because who's going to want to watch, you know, a rom-com with black people? That no one's interested in that. When actually, again, we are not a monolith. There's something, everybody is different, and what every person likes is different. And so the art that should be created should be representative of the lots of varied stories that we have, not just us in the crisis, not just us trying to overcome racism or the barriers that are set against us. And I'm not saying that this isn't being done already. This is definitely being done. And I feel like I've been seeing a move towards more of this type of work. But I just want to reiterate, I just wanted to reiterate, but also just say, like, kind of something that I was thinking about is that, like, we can make our cult classics as well. And I feel like we do, but we should be making more, and we should be allowed to. And I don't know who is allowing us, but I don't know. I hope that makes sense, but it's more like, yeah, we should be allowed to just pull out stuff and it just be, this was a fun movie, full stop. Not, you know, I don't think people are critiquing or trying to see the nuance and stuff like Terminator, or like, you know, those just silly action films that you just put out because it will make you money. No one's trying to see that, oh yeah, they shot it like that and they did all this stuff and this was the key messaging. It's just a movie. And so, like, we should be able to have that for ourselves too, and also see it for what it is, and not be like, oh wow, why are they doing a movie like that? Doesn't even like show us to be this and that. Like, we are not a monolith. We can be varied, and there are going to be stories that are varied about us. And we need to know the difference again between like movies that are just out to show us having enjoyment and just to tell a fun, cute story, and ones that are supposed to be telling us a key message and that should be taken seriously and critiqued. And also just I think understanding the nuance in our art, and like, yes, support, but also don't be afraid to say what you feel about them, and not problematic things that aren't helpful. Things that don't help the artist, they don't help anybody. If it's just you sharing your opinion for the sake of your opinion, I mean, in my opinion, keep that to yourself. But if it's something like, like I said, the accents weren't great, or I didn't really enjoy the way they kind of lead into the dark-skinned black woman stereotype, things like that, like, if that is something that you want to say about how you felt, you should be able to say that without being penalised. And there should be nuanced conversation. But I mean, it's the internet. it's very rare that conversations are nuanced, but I guess it's just worth me saying that that's what I think should be happening, and that's just my opinion on that. We deserve depth, humanity, and the space to create lots of varied pieces, and we as a community need to support the artists that want to create those things. Support doesn't mean complete undying devotion and just like, yep, it was brilliant and nothing was wrong with it. It should be support in making sure that artists can create more art and each piece is going to be even better than the last. Everything's going to be the best ever, and that's okay. Like, we can just say, like, it wasn't my favourite film, but, you know, go out and watch it. It might be for you. And that's an okay thing to say. You don't have to have loved it if you didn't. And I just feel bad that a lot of people out there feel like, a lot of, I guess, black people out there may feel scared to be like, oh, I didn't really like it, because they're going to be met with all this hate because they think that they're hating when actually they're just sharing their opinion on something just like they would any other movie or piece of art, you know? For example, Green Book won loads of awards and black people hated it, and the people that the story was based on said it was inaccurate, and all these things that came out, and yet it won so many awards. It was critically acclaimed and all these things, and I think it's because I think white people were trying to, is it virtue signaling? Whatever it is, white people were trying to be like, oh, this is a black people film, let's try and boost it. Like, yeah, this will be great. Let's make this the award winner so they can get off our back about lack of diversity. And again, it felt for that film, it was almost as if white people were like, how dare you critiquing a film about your people? Like, you can't be doing that, blah, blah, blah. And it's because I feel like we almost set a precedent that everything that comes out by black people, we will support and have undying love and nothing bad to say about. And so even when the stories that come out are like terribly and written terribly, and we actually are like, no, we don't like this, it can almost feel like disingenuous in a way, like, but you're supposed to like everything that's about black people that we put out. You know, you there's no critique or nuance to it. You just like it because it has black people in it. When actually, that's not the case. It doesn't have to be the case. Like, and I think this, you know, us constantly throwing support at things, good or bad, and not being kind of open enough to say, I think this could be improved, or I didn't really like the storyline for this reason, means that things are kind of winning awards and being critically acclaimed when there's nothing critical or amazing about them. And the things that are amazing, beautiful pieces of art that are telling our stories in a good way are being swept under the rug for the things that are making white people money. This feels like, I don't know, it feels like I went off a little bit on a tangent, but I think I was just, basically what I was trying to say is that, can we critique black art? What do you think? Do you think we're at a point in society where we can do that and have an opinion on things without being shut down by the rest of the community? Or are we damned to just always think everything that we do is amazing and that we can't say anything bad because we'll never get a shot ever again? What do you think? I'm not really sure. Again, I'm one of those people that keeps my opinions I keep my opinion to myself, because I don't, like, I'm sort of those people, I mind my business, you know, and do my thing and whatever. But I'd be interested to hear if you think that nuanced conversation is starting to happen, will happen, never happen, I don't know. But yeah, it's a bit of a ramble, but I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching. If you got to the end, I love you loads, because, you know, I like to talk, but I love you loads. Remember to like, yeah, subscribe, and comment down below your thoughts and answers to the questions or things that came into your mind when you're thinking about it. I love you loads. Thank you to 132 of my subscribers. I really hope to gain more of you and have more conversations and have more chat about different things that I'm thinking about. And if there's anything that you in particularly want me to speak about or hear about, if there's anything in particular you want to hear me speak or talk about, let me know. And if you're wondering what the makeup, it's hot in it. So I'm wearing my own palette. Can you imagine that? Joseph made me a custom palette on Colourpop, which is really sweet of him. So I'm using like the greens, and I'm using the greens from that. Wearing Fenty on the base, Ruby Woo on the lips with some chestnut lip liner, and then Juvia's Place blush on the cheeks. It's come out really cute. I tried to do the red and the green so that it was like that contrast thing on the colour wheel, and I think it's come out really, really well. The pink berets, because I haven't done my hair and I can't bother to do it. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. See you on the next one. Bye!